Here I am again, SeaTac International Airport. I'm not here to travel to somewhere beautiful and relaxing, but actually, someplace sinful. Today, we're heading down to Las Vegas, Nevada. The reason being, it was time for the biannual Boys Trip, also known as the Burger Boys Weekend, or BBW for short. Yes, I did meet two of the three guys down in San Diego, but that was a short trip. As well, I was actually down there to attend a separate friend's wedding. This trip, however, though, was exclusively for the boys. So I loaded up into the Boeing 737 MAX and began my trip down to Nevada. Don't worry, we kept all our door plugs on our flight south, but my flight was delayed because a tire had exploded when it landed at SeaTac. After a 2.5 hour flight, with the last hour being super turbulent, I finally made it to Las Vegas. Matt was already in Nevada visiting family, so he offered to pick me up from the airport. Here's my VIP ride. Look at him. Look who it is. My idiot. Conveniently enough, Cody landed 30 minutes after I did, so Matt and I did a loop of the airport and scooped him up as well. We started this boys trip the same way we start every boys trip, with a pilgrimage to In-N-Out. After all, it was the Burger Boys Weekend. Filled with burgers, we eventually made our way to the Strip. The boys had all agreed we should really treat ourselves on this trip, so we booked the finest room in the finest hotel with the finest view.
Goddamn gorgeous view.
Literally, you can't beat this view. Okay, we all know you're not here to watch me rub my 5-star hotel experience in your face. You're here for film photography. So let's get to the gear. I wanted to pack semi-light on this trip and spend more time taking photos and less time fumbling around with gear. Without much debate, I ended up taking my Nikon F2 packed with a 28mm f2.8 AIS lens. As for film, I'd be shooting Ilford HP5 push 2 stops to 1600. By rating this film at 1600 ISO, I'd be able to shoot from day to night and night to day without having to worry if I had sufficient light for each of my exposures. As well, to make these photos a little more dynamic during the daytime, I'd be pairing them up with a Tiffin yellow filter. After settling into our room and making sure we didn't have bed bugs, we decided to hit the Strip. The Oyo.
Man, they really just repurposed that sign, didn't they? It's
Oh,
colors.
Cody, I love you.
already. Still gonna have a little baby this blue mount. Get blue.
I think it's probably almost bedtime.
After a couple of drinks and a couple hours of shooting, I was starting to get a hang of the 28mm. I'm usually a 35mm guy, but I felt Vegas's towering hotels, expansive casinos, and people-packed streets was well suited for a 28mm. Well, that's what I told myself at least, when it came to justifying the purchase of another lens.
There's something like when you're like young, you really have like a distorted view of like what you like.
I'm actually really impressed with this lens. It's decently sharp. As well, the focus fall off is smooth and pleasing.
Also, I do not consent to pictures of me.
That's a cool camera. That looks like really.
Monopoly, but it's Monopoly. And I was gonna try to buy it and bring it for us, but
It's all fun and games having a robot make you a cocktail. It's only a matter of time before they start asking where John Connor is.
Oh shit, it's already working. Oh yeah, man. You guys are on. Shit.
The future is here. The T1000's taking one over.
We eventually made our way to the Taco Bell Cantina. You know, the Taco Bell where you can get an alcoholic Baja Blast freeze. I wanted to tell you guys that this was the best Taco Bell experience of my entire life, but my expectations, they really weren't met. Honestly, the Taco Bell Cantina couldn't beat the Oregon City Taco Bell. That location, they make their Crunchwrap Supremes with love, and you can't beat that.
that touched my nose.
So after completing a 12-mile loop of the strip, we decided to call it a night. The next morning, we woke up definitely not hungover, but ready for our next adventure. I had several ideas of what to do for today, and the boys were happy enough to let me lead. On our morning walk, I finished up the first roll of HP5 and immediately loaded up the second roll in direct harsh sunlight. And by doing so, that explains the light leaks on these first few photos. Speaking of light leaks, I loaded up some T-Max 400 into my Holga CFN 120. Yep, I brought the Holga with me. Anna Starr had announced that she'd be taking submissions for Plastic Perspective Issue 6 on her Instagram earlier that week, and I knew I wanted to contribute to it, so I brought the Holga along. I know I had said I wanted to pack light, and I didn't want to be fumbling with gear, but the Holga weighs less than the Nikon F2, and honestly, it's pretty easy to use. Anyways, the boys and I ended up making it to our first location, the Las Vegas Pinball Hall of Fame. This was actually a recommendation from Drew down at the Tacoma Photo Center. Thanks, Drew. I'm not the biggest pinball fan, but seeing all these historic machines in operating condition, and seeing also other ones being rebuilt, it was pretty cool. From the Pinball Hall of Fame, we made our way north back to the Strip to get some lunch. After eating and wandering around, we eventually made our way to the Las Vegas monorail station. I had talked the boys into heading to the far north side of the Las Vegas Strip, just to head to the Strat.
We're going northbound, right?
Yeah.
Please hold a handrail firmly at all times. Next stop northbound is Window Station at Las Vegas Convention Center.
Stations.
It does look like shit.
I knew the views from the Strat would be amazing, as well, it'd be a brand new experience for at least me and Cody. I've been trying to think of a clever joke about the Space Needle and the Strat, but I'm not that smart. So, let's just say I like Fallout New Vegas. I do have to pat myself on the back though, because I had timed this perfectly. Because we were up on the observation deck to witness both golden hour and blue hour from up here. You might be asking why I care so much about golden hour when I'm shooting black and white film. Truth be told, I did sneak some color film in on this trip. It was all for the Holga. Knowing that the winter light would fade fast, I ended up loading up some Lomo Color Negative 800 for that extra light sensitivity. Once the sun had set, we left the observation deck and went inside to get a drink. So at the bar, it was happy hour, and they had a buy one get one deal going on, so we took full advantage of this. We ended up hanging out here till nightfall, because we wanted to see Las Vegas lit up from such a unique vantage point. Shooting at f2.8 at 1/60th of a second and 1/30th of a second, I had no problems capturing Las Vegas on the pushed HP5. However, being limited to 1/60th of a second at f8, the Lomo 800 shots, they really didn't turn out that well. The two shots that came out looking somewhat okay were actually shot in bulb mode as I braced them against some railing. All this effort just to get light leaks. Having spent several hours on top of the Strat, we decided it was time to head back down and work our way south. We ended up stopping at Circus Circus, because Matt had remembered going there as a kid, and actually had fond memories of it, so we decided to go check it out. Having heard rumors that Circus Circus was starting to show its age, I was eager to check it out. So, was Circus Circus the rundown piece of shit they said it was? Yeah, pretty much. However, with that being said, it was actually probably one of my favorite places I took photos of. From Circus Circus, we hiked to the nearest monorail station and worked our way all the way back south to our hotel. We ended up getting some dinner, another round of drinks, as well as gambling for a little bit, before eventually calling it a night. Today was a special day. be the first time in my life that I'd be trying Whataburger. As well, Tony'd be finally joining us.
Worn out already.
Yeah?
I stepped outside to go. Oh, I got my boot.
Unfortunately for you guys, I left all my cameras in the room that night, minus my Digicam. The reason being is that we had purchased tickets to go see a show that night, and they had a strict no photography equipment policy. So I didn't really want to be marching back and forth to the hotel room just to put my camera away before the show, so I decided just to rock my Digicam and hang out with my buds.
It closes automatically.
I'll meet you guys down there. I'll check.
Not wanting to make you guys feel left out, here's a few photos I took with the Digicam that night. With our minds thoroughly from the night before, we started this day off a little more slow. We decided to jump off the strip today and head over to the Las Vegas Arts District. So I had actually done some research on this area before our trip, and the mixture of good drinks, good food, as well as vintage stores seemed like it had something for everyone here.
Casey, how much?
What?
As you probably presumed, I was shooting the Nikon F2 with HP5 Plus to 1600, but I also had the Holga with me, and I loaded that up with some Kodak Gold 200. We ended up getting lunch over at Able Breaker Brewing. The food was great, so were the drinks. Although, I have to say, a brewery themed off a nuclear test site and rubber ducks seems kind of weird. From lunch, I went on to harass my friends to make them feel grateful that I moved 2 states away.
Yo, what's up? It's Matt Vision. Yeah, what's up? Tell MTV what you like.
I don't like anything. Them originally, I didn't think I would. Maybe I'd wear them every now and then.
We ended up walking around the arts district and checking everything out. The only problem was I kept falling behind because I was stopping to take photos every couple minutes. I honestly love these photos with the Strat in the background, and all I have to say is, I wish I took more. There's an interesting visual contrast between these small businesses and the shadow of the massive casino. I could wax poetically and draw out this comparison, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying.
Mind freak.
Can we cross over to the other side a little
Mind
bit?
freak.
From the Arts District, we made our way over to the Fremont Street Experience. What is it that we experienced? Well, that's for my therapist to know and for you guys to hopefully never find out. Honestly, it had been about a decade since I'd been to Fremont, and I was super excited to photograph it. As well, I'm super grateful I had the 28mm on me. Being able to capture all the street performers and all the pedestrians walking in and out of the casinos and the casinos themselves made for some really dynamic photos. I honestly don't think I would have captured better shots if I had a tighter lens. We ended up making our way over to the shipping container mall, where we would just post up for a bit and hang out. Definitely a unique place to check out, especially if you're looking for something a little more off the beaten path in Las Vegas. Leaving the mall, we noticed that the streets had actually been shut down, and that a marathon was actually being completed here at Fremont Street. As night moved in, I shot the rest of the Kodak Gold in the Holga, hoping they weren't underexposed. But they were. I wasn't about to call it quits with the Holga though. Instead, I ended up loading up some more Lomography 800 and continued to shoot. It's interesting to see the differences in exposure here between the Holga and the Nikon. The Holga is limited to 1/60th a second at f8 with an 800 ISO film stock. The Nikon, however, has a full range of shutter speeds, but I didn't really dive below 1/30th of a second. As well, the 28mm has a max aperture of f2.8, and I had the HP5 pushed to 1600. So if you do the math, we can tell that the Nikon F2 actually has 3 additional stops of light, making for more accurate exposures. Also, the overall sharpness of the Nikon is better than the Holga, but that's the difference between glass and plastic. The Holga though, it does have Riz. Am I saying that right?
No.
Hungry from exploring Fremont, the Burger Boys decided not to continue on their warpath, but instead decided to get a nice sushi dinner. Also, don't judge me, but I purposely ate a small lunch, just to see if I could eat my life savings in sushi tonight, which I did. I'll never financially recover.
Kiss him. Kiss him on the lips.
They had it all up for me.
Faster.
It had been a long, productive day of taking photos, but the night, it was just beginning. After getting back to the hotel, we decided to head back out, and I decided to leave the Nikon F2 in the room. So what did we do tonight? Well, we got a few more drinks and gambled what little money we had left. Of course, I lost my full betting allowance within the first 5 minutes of gambling, but that's just tradition for me here in Vegas. However, though, one of us did come out on top.
Stop! I really want that. Dude, Matt's like fucking 15 grand in the hole, dude.
What are you buying me?
Yeah, holy shit.
Drunk, poor, and beaten, we decided to head back to the room just to hang out into the wee hours of the night. The last day was upon us. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty hungover and run down to start this day off. I knew I didn't really have it in me that day to record more B-roll, but I knew I had to finish up the roll of HP5 that was in my Nikon F2. As well, I only had one roll of 120 film left for the Holga, and I felt I should just use it up. So what was this roll? Well, it was Cinestill 400D, and I loaded it up into the Holga, and we hit the strip. Well, Matt, Cody, and I, because Tony had to leave earlier that morning. We actually made our way over to the Bellagio, which had a really cool Lunar New Year installation within the casino. I actually really like my Holga photos from here, more so than I like my Nikon photos. I just think the scene called for color, and the 400D, it delivered. From there, we slowly made our way back down the strip. We ended up finding a place to hang out at until it was time for me and Cody to head back to the airport. It didn't last long enough, but another boys' trip was in the books, and it was time to head back home. Las Vegas definitely isn't at the top of the list when it comes to taking a vacation, but the ease of getting in and out of there, as well as the abundance of activities to do, you really can't complain. As well, the sunny 60-degree weather was a welcome change, especially after the cold, wet winter we had in the PNW.
Please dial 1582 on an air.
As for photography, I'm really happy I limited myself on this trip. Limiting myself to a single camera, a single lens, and a single film stock really allowed me to focus on composition. As well, I spent less time fumbling with gear and more time taking photos. Yeah, I technically brought 3 cameras, but you know what I mean. As well, the more I use my Nikon F2, the more I love it. The 100% viewfinder coverage on this camera, it's amazing. It allows me to set up my compositions quickly, and I don't have to worry about things being cropped in or cropped out. As well, HP5 push 2 stops, it looks incredible as always. From the sunny daytime shots paired with the yellow filter to the moody nighttime shots, HP5 came through and delivered. These photos give Las Vegas a classic look, almost timeless. If I were to shoot Las Vegas in color, the first 2 film stocks that come to mind are Lomo 800 and Cinestill 800T, because I can't afford Portra. Even if I could afford Portra, I don't think I would shoot it if I came back here to shoot color photos, because I think I would actually shoot slide. I think the limited ISO would be a challenge, but I think the end results would be incredible. So the main point of this trip was to hang out with my buds, then shoot photos. So I had to be able to shoot fast and move fast without holding up the group, or more likely, be left behind. This combination of a wide lens and fast film, though, allowed me to take some really interesting photos, as well spend some much needed time with my friends. As well, allowed us to eat all the burgers we desired. After all, the Burger Boys weekend, it only happens once every other year.